I need you to understand something right now. Enneacraft is absolutely busted. Beyond repair. All of you are glazing your eyes because they are pendulum flip monsters. Let me tell you why they're broken. Hello, my name is Doc Conrad, Yugioh, and if you like rants about flip monsters and all things NR format related, because those are the two things that my content seems to be wholly centered around, like this video, subscribe, all of that. Enneacraft is an archetype based around Earth and Light Machine pendulum monsters that are also flip type. Each of these cards have a very specific and very unique effect that allows for some absolutely mind-boggling effects. First of all, I want you to note that every single monster only has one single once per turn on it, and it's only 4 of the 8. Only 4 of the 8 have a single once per turn on it. You can only use the second pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. Everything else in the monster effect, in the pendulum effect, is not a once per turn. The second effect reads, for all of the level 1 Earth machines, you can pay 900 life points, reveal 3 Enneacraft cards from your deck, your opponent randomly picks one to add to your hand, you shuffle the rest back into the deck. What does this mean? Well, with every single level 1 Earth machine, they all are able to be searchers. That is very consistent for near about any of your big monsters that you want to utilize. This being a hard once for each of those monsters' names is relevant because the field spell adds these pendulum monsters back to hand in order to then eventually activate their effects. Each of their effects also has the effect where, with the monster effect, reveal this card in your hand and special summon one monster from your hand in face down defense position. This locks you, however. Each of these monsters have this lock that state, you cannot special summon the turn you activate this effect except in face down defense position. What does this mean? Your normal summon is free, and you cannot special summon from the extra deck at all. There is no way to inherently extra deck special summon in face down defense position, as hard as you may try. As far as I'm aware, also, this effect being a lock for the whole turn, even before you activate this, means that if you do end up going into the extra deck, all these effects would be not able to activate and special themselves out later. So, what do these cards actually do? Well, each time a monster's flip placed up, you place a Synquisition counter on this card. That is an effect on all 8 of them. Synquisition counters we'll get to in a bit. Next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about their conditions. Each of them have a condition to flip themselves face up based on something either your opponent does or something that is in reactive to them activating, flipping themselves face up. This card, Yugioh, states, when your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand, you can change the set card to face up defense position and add 1 Enneacraft card from your deck to your hand. Each of the level 1s have the effect to flip themselves up and add an Enneacraft and your opponent does something. There's also a mandatory effect. If this card is flipped face up, this one has a mandatory effect to destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. This guy. Next up, we have Alazonial A. This states, when your opponent activates a card or effect that includes adding a card from the deck to the hand, you can change the set card defense position, add an Enneacraft card. If flipped face up, banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand face up until the end phase. Tromaria states, when your opponent activates a card or effect that includes special summoning a monster, change the set card to face up defense position, add Enneacraft card from deck to hand. If flipped face up, negate the effect of 1 effect monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. And finally, Okneria states, when your opponent activates a card or effect of the graveyard or banishment, you can change the set card to face up defense position and add an Enneacraft card from your deck to your hand. If flipped face up, shuffle up to 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard and or banishment into the deck. Alright, so that's what all of the level 1 monsters do. Very powerful stuff, already to state. I will be front with you. These all have an effect to add a monster. They have an effect to once again add a monster on your opponent's turn, or anytime your opponent activates anything, you get to do it again. So, that's for the level 1s. For the level 9s, we have Leon. Leon is a level 9 light beast machine. This has a different pendulum effect. All the level 9s have this pendulum effect. At the end of the battle phase, if you have an Enneacraft card in your other pendulum zone, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls with lower attack than this card, destroy it. Pixia has the same thing, as well as Mar, Atori F Mar, right here, and Tail, Archan Tail, right here. Okay. I had to go ahead and record this once again after a little bit, so pardon me if I'm a bit frazzled. This card states, as well, with all the little ones, that you can reveal this card in your hand and special summon one monster from your hand at face down defense position, and you cannot special summon the turn you activate this effect except in face down defense position. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your card or effect, you can change it to face up defense position. Mandatory, return up to 3 cards on the field to the hand. So if it's only your plays and you have just one, it will activate and then return up to 3. It could be the card that you attempted to activate, or one of your cards that you can add back to your hand, which is, you know, actually pretty strong considering the pendulum counters, or perhaps a continuous spell, or anything like that. Each time a card is added to your opponent's hand by their card effect, while you control this monster flip face up, inflict 900 damage to them for each. Now, burn damage is mostly your win condition with these cards, inflicting 900 damage to them for each time they activate, meaning that at a minimum, if you activate them 9 times in total, each of these effects, you'll be able to go ahead and burn them for that much. And there is another effect that burns for 900 as well. Actually, 2 more. Pixia states, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, you can change the set card to face up defense position, negate that effect, then you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand face down. Also, I'm sorry, this is not mandatory. It says you can change this, as well as with both of these. So it's not mandatory to activate those, but the second effect, all of these secondary effects are... This one is mandatory, and this one is mandatory to inflict. So they're mandatory to inflict and mandatory to protect. So your opponent cannot target cards on the field or in the graveyards with card effects while you control this monster flipped face up. This guy, Pixia. Atori F Mar states, when your opponent activates a card or effect in the field during your turn only, you can change the set card to face up defense position, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So it gives protection on your turn, but not on your opponent's. Are very unfortunate. However, its secondary effect of, if this card is flipped face up, Geolock. That's right. Ninja, Geo the Gravity Ninja's effect, except it's for all monsters your opponent controls. Face down defense position, their battle positions cannot be changed. Tail states, when your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card on the field, you can change it to face up defense. Monsters and Enneacraft spells you control cannot be destroyed by card effects for the rest of this turn. Each time a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while you control this monster flipped face up, inflict 900 damage to them. Now, with all these being effects and whens as well, these can be chain blocked in a way that will be able to be interacted with and could prevent some forms of protection, which could be very frustrating. However, with these major amount of burn spells that you're able to activate and other non-engine you can play, there might be some ways you might be able to play around this. Next up, we have the field spell, Enneapolis, the Sinquisition City. This card is always treated as an Enneacraft card. Now keep in mind, you can add any of this at any time with any of the level 1s. You can use this the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Target any number of Enneacraft Pendulum monsters you control, return them to the hand. If an Enneacraft Pendulum monster you control is flipped face up during the main phase, you can return to the hand or place in your Pendulum zone one of them. Once per turn, during the end phase, remove all Sinquisition counters from cards you control, and if you do, inflict 900 damage to your opponent for each. So, with all these Inquisition counters you're getting off of each time these monsters flip face up, once again, there's a lot you can do in this regard. All of these cards are very difficult to parse for yourself and for your opponent. It is a strong knowledge check deck. You are going to need to read and fully comprehend what these cards do if you are faced up against it. Otherwise, not only on the back foot, you're also going to be subjected to a lot of burn. You're going to be interrupted with while the cards are face down. And keep in mind, with the knowledge check rules that are face down with these cards, after the turn passes over, you will not be able to know what cards are face down anymore. So you're going to have to go ahead and when they activate and set all of them, your eyes can't glaze over. You have to pay attention. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing. Finally, the spell card Enneacraft releases a normal spell that states you can only activate one of the card with this card's name per turn. Also, you can only use the protect effect of Enneapolis, this Inquisition City as well. Place an Enneacraft Pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum zone. Very strong, being able to place any of the level 1s in order to add more, or place another one to allow for some more destruction protection off of these guys at the end of the battle phase. Interesting stuff. The second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, it's the turn of sent there, banish it, add a face-up Enneacraft monster from your extra deck to your hand. So, if you are going to have a problem with these cards being either tributed over, destroyed, removed from the field in any sort of way that would go to the face-up extra deck, you can then go ahead and you activate Release's effect afterwards in order to then cycle them back into the rotation and then activate them once again. 3 prints as well in this set, which is something you all need to be attention of, because if you guys see any buyouts of any of these cards, you are silly. They include Pot of the Forbidden, Spirit of the Fallwind, Pinpoint Landing, and Start to Drew Karma Cannon. Why Pinpoint Landing? Well, if you special summon once, you get to draw a card from your hand. So, any of these can activate that, you just get an extra draw if you control this get to use a spell. I would not try this, to be honest with you. Spirit of the Fallwind, normal summoned, add a flip. Pot of the Forbidden, we'll get to that later. And Start to Drew Karma Cannon, of course, was reprinted in Rarity Collection, so you shouldn't have to worry about too much, but keep in mind that for the Quarter Century Secret Rare, if you're a real market head. But what are the options that we have with other cards? Hi there. It's time for me to go ahead and talk about some flip cards. If you're tired of this, if you really think that none of these are going to see play, you're wrong, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and talk about, first of all, one of my favorite sort of mini archetypes we can go ahead and talk about, Ninja. Ninja as an archetype allows you to go for Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo as your normal summon. Allowing this lets you go ahead and set a copy of Ninjutsu Art of Dancing Leaves, as well as a copy of, which lets you tribute any of your set cards or Hanzo himself in order to special summon Yugioh the Gravity Ninja, triggering the effects of these monsters, and if they have the ability to flip themselves, also trigger its secondary effect to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. This lets you reset your trap, reset your monsters, or set their monsters if you so choose, and then get further advantage from there. Very powerful end board, very powerful engine. 3 and 3 and 1 could be some sort of play that you can see. Chakravartin Sphinx is a card that I reacted to relatively recently, which is a pack filler in the latest archetype, the latest set, Doom of Dimensions, which states the following. Once per turn, the battle position of another monster in the field is changed. You can target one card in the field, return it to the hand, meaning that this is a bounce of any monster on the field, including your own monsters or their own. If the battle position of a monster... Oh, by the way, that is a soft once per turn for that effect, which probably won't be relevant for this card in particular. It's very hard to get this one out. Let's see. You can use each of the following effects of this effect once per turn. If the battle position of monsters change, except during the damage step, you can banish one spell from your graveyard, special summon this card from your graveyard or hand. During your main phase, you could set up Book of Tayu or a Book of Moon from your deck and or graveyard. So, being able to bring this card out by getting rid of any of your other spells you've utilized can be very strong in order to get further stuff for further bounces. Very interesting card. I'm a fan, but I don't know how well it's going to be utilized. Convertible is one of the flip monsters that I think may seem for some sort of play because it's able to, if flipped, special summon a level 5 or higher flip from the deck and face on defense position except for itself. So if you were to do that, you can activate that effect to bring back any of the level 9 or highers, which could be interesting. However, there is a problem of it being the battle phase effect, meaning that it cannot send any cards to graveyard. So hard opening this for this effect is hard, but you can use all of the Enneacrafts to special summon any flip monster, in face down defense position. That's where we get to Pot of the Forbidden as well, which has the effect to either draw 2, return all spell trap cards in the field of the hand, destroy all monsters your opponent controls, or look at your opponent's hand and also shuffle one card from their hand into the deck. What? That's crazy. You understand that's crazy, right? That's nuts. If we want to talk about normal summon engines and field spell effects we can utilize, we also have Mimighuls. Mimighoul Dungeon and Mimighoul Master being able to add a copy of itself in order to add, on normal summon, add a Mimighoul monster from deck to hand. Get yourself a copy of, I don't know, Dragon, or a copy of any of the other Mimighouls that give disadvantage to your opponent and then send themselves to graveyard because your field's full. And then you're able to block them out of any sort of effects afterwards. And you could just flip summon all your monsters afterward. Or Mimical Master effect to just flip them up whenever you want. Mimical Room lets you reset your monsters and special summon out on your opponent's turn Master, which lets you do it again for another monster. I mean, you can Room, bring out Master effect, add whatever monster you want, and then you can also Room, set one of your cards again, and then activate it again if you want to, because there's not a once per turn on these cards, damn it. There's not. Spirit of the Fallwind adds any flip monster from deck to hand, another consistency searcher for any of the high levels, low levels, any sort of flip monster that you so desire. Wake Cup Machi has the effect to special reveal this card on one other flip monster in hand, special both in face-down defense position, and if flip face-up, you can target a face-down defense position monster on the field and change to face-up attack position. It not having a trigger effect is a little bit odd, but it could be utilized. The Prediction Princesses, I think, are interesting for the effect that they are level 9s to be able to be attributed, and you can do that afterwards, but they are hard to do because they do not have the effect to special summon themselves face down. They have the effect to set them out once again, but that's probably going to be like a turn 3 play, maybe, so we'll put those to the side for right now. Now onto the spell traps, because we have some crazy stuff. Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, and Book of Taiyu, of course, are spell cards that allow for flip effects. Book of Eclipse and Destructive Druma Karma Cannon almost have the exact same effect for this effect, except Book of Eclipse can be ashed and is a quick play, and Destructive Druma Karma Cannon it can't be, which is good. This card and the other cards are insane because they allow for your monsters to be set face down and allow them to trigger again, adding more counters, adding more burn spells, going further. Very, very nice. Very, very nuts. Sol and Luna, as well, having an effect to face up, change it to face down defense position, and face down, change to face up defense position, meaning that you can interact with your opponent in quite an interesting way. Sunset Beat, you get to, if you have any of those effects, to set them face down once again, destroy a card on the field, and if a flip monster is flipped face up, you could target one of them, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its level times 200, meaning that you cut down their life points by 1800 for any of these level 9 monsters. Terrors in the Hidden City prevents targeting for face-down defense position monsters you control with card effects, and where flip face-up gain 1500 attack and defense. And if it's sent to the destroyed by card effect, you can target one monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face-down defense position. Now, there might be some other things you won't be able to utilize with this. For instance, all of these cards are Pendulum monsters, so you cannot get their secondary effect. However, you're able to get that with some of your non-engine. For instance, any of the normal summons with like Hanzo or Yugioh or Mimical Master, or near about anything you want to go ahead and play with this, because you do not have a normal summon for this deck. If you have a very strong, very powerful normal summon you could just utilize while the rest of your effects go off on your turn or on your opponent's turn, go for it. Why not? The world's your oyster. This, I need everybody to understand that them not being once per turn, them having burn effects, them having a ways to interact with your opponent while face down, and being able to do those things again, to banish a random card of your opponent's hand face down, or return up to 3 cards in the field to the hand, or shuffle with 3 cards your opponent's graveyard and or banishment of the deck. Like, oh my god. Or have forms of, forms of protection. Or have burn cards, burn effects. They have so much that you need to parse through. There will be decks of this. You need to understand what these cards do, because at the minimum, I will be playing these cards, and you cannot stop me. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, if you want to learn more about all these different types of reacts to new cards, talk about flip effects, have fun time talking about NR format, wanting to go ahead and play any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive, casual, otherwise, if you just like the game, check me out, subscribe, notification bell, all of that. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care, everybody. See ya.